Welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I'm Kelly Noonan Gores, and every week I speak to the leading doctors, healers, spiritual teachers, and scientists to find out what is truly possible when it comes to healing. I also interview real people with extraordinary healing stories. My philosophy is, what's possible for one is possible for all. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful journey of remembering our divine nature and tapping into the truths that shall set us free. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. We are here for the 100th episode. I can hardly believe it. 100 podcast episodes over the last few years. It's been a journey, and I just want to start by saying thank you. Whether you're new, whether you're a longtime listener, from day one, I wouldn't be here without you. Caring about the content that I'm creating and the interviews and the conversations I'm having. So it means the world that you're here. It means the world, all the feedback you've given, all of the wonderful notes of how this podcast has helped you on your journey and been such a great resource. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Gratitude is going to be a big thread through this conversation because I'm really, really leaning into this just frequency and practice that has shifted my life in the past and is shifting it now and is such an important tool. So it is appropriate to start this episode with so much gratitude for you. We are in an intense time in history, and there's been many intense times throughout history. We are very blessed in so many ways, but also there are still horrific wars happening in the world. There's horrific things happening in this country. So I just want to take a moment on the other side of gratitude to just send love and light and peace, peace, peace and protection for everyone who needs it in the world, in the conflict zones, in the wars, and right here, all the children at school. Protection, protection, peace, peace, love, love, light, light. And I have to say that because we live in a crazy time. So healing. We're coming off the Healing Girl summer. It is now the Healing Girl era. I don't quite understand what that is, but I do. Everybody is coming back to this. Put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. So if we don't fill our own self up and calm our nervous system and nurture our joy in our systems, if we're not resourced, we cannot show up for the people that we love, especially our children. So I do understand what that trend is all about. I feel like I've been on a Healing Girl era for many, many years, which is kind of why we decided to rebrand, Heal Documentary to Heal with Kelly, because as I continue these podcasts and I'm creating some new stuff, and I've got film number 2 marinating in my spirit and my mind. So that's very exciting. So as I continue to explore my own healing, Heal with Kelly is an invitation for you guys to come on the journey with me, as because my astrology, my human design, everything points to I am supposed to experience and share and teach. So I will continue to do that, and Heal with Kelly is that path for us. Healing to me is really what it has revealed itself is a remembering. And I've said this before in other conversations, but it's truly peeling back the layers by becoming aware, self-reflection, self-investigation, whether it's on your own, in nature, or with a practitioner that's helping to reflect back to you and help you uncover these wounds, bring them up to air and light so they can heal. As we go through that process of investigation and reflection and self-realization, we remember who we truly are. We remember our divinity, our perfection as a soul, already whole, already perfect and divine, from this amazing source. There's many names of which we came and to which we will go back. That is our truth. And then, of course, there are these meat suits. They're the human experience. So it's really understanding our divinity while also accepting our humanity and all of the challenges and beauty and that comes with being human. So that's really been my journey lately. Like I said, I love to try things. I'm a seeker. I'm an investigator. And so recently, here's a recent little personal anecdote. What's going on in my life? My friend Brianne, shout out Brianne, Michigan, was telling me about this woman in Grand Rapids, Michigan named Dr. Linda, who really helped her save her and her daughter and from these mystery illnesses. And so she was like, you have to, for the past 2 years, she's like, you have to come meet Dr. Linda. You had to come meet Dr. Linda. Well, I went to our Michigan house 3 times this summer to just enjoy the peace and the beauty that Lake Michigan provides. And so finally, I planned ahead enough to get in to see Dr. Linda. Well, Dr. Linda is unconventional in her practice in that she solely works off of muscle testing for diagnoses. And her mentor, I think she told me, graduated from high school at 7 years old, had a PhD by 12. The man was obviously a genius, and his preferred method of figuring out what was going on in the body, beyond blood labs and everything. And this might sound a little woo-woo to you people, but kinesiology and muscle testing is a real thing. And I follow the resonance. I follow what feels right. And so she was mentored under this man who used muscle testing, and it's extremely effective. It's the way your subconscious mind, as the body, gives you feedback of what makes you weak and what makes you strong. So you can, it's phenomenal. It's fascinating, actually. So I went to see her. She muscle tested me. Turns out my Lyme was activated again. Some of you may know that right before I started filming Heal, I got diagnosed with Lyme and mold. So I had to treat that, did it over about 6 months with high doses of vitamin C and glutathione and other, vitamins intravenously, and then later at the end, some binders to remove. And when I got rid of the mold, we tested for Lyme again, and that was no longer showing up either. So, but as you learn in life, once it's in your system, maybe it's just laying dormant and it's not active and flared up, but due to recent events and potentially stress or environmental triggers, my Lyme has been reactivated. The good news is mold had not been. So we're just focusing on the Lyme and heavy metals. So, and intuitively, I knew I had heavy metals and had to take a detox. And even though Anthony William is one of my dear friends, I just haven't followed the protocol to detox the metals, which makes me the moron. But so here I am, and I'm in her office, and I'm like, that's so strange because I'm not suffering from acute symptoms. However, the first time with Lyme, I wasn't either, which is why I stayed calm, and I said, let's just treat the mold, and then we'll monitor the Lyme. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm not suffering from acute symptoms, I'm going, wait a second, I've had unexplainable, really intense, multiple day headaches that I've never had in my life. And they're getting more frequent, and they last 3 to 5 days. And I've always, I even talked about it with Marissa Peer on this podcast, and we did some hypnosis to get to some emotional roots, but they kind of kept coming back. So they went away for a period, and then they came back. So anyways, prior to this visit, I had 5-day headache, and it was gnarly and debilitating, and I was spending time with my daughter, and it was our mother-daughter weekend, and it really interfered. So that's kind of an acute symptom if it's interfering with your life, but I'm just used to barreling through things. So anyways, long story short, Dr. Linda has the most amazing protocol. She's helped hundreds and thousands of people that have come to her over the years. She has this incredible frequency therapy machine. It's called the Pulsar, and she has different frequency protocols for any condition. And so when I was talking to my friend Brianne, she's like, it's mind-blowing what she's been able to accomplish. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go through it. So immediately the first day that I did the protocol, which had to do with the Pulsar machine, and then some light therapy with lasers, and then a ionic foot bath, which was gnarly to see all the stuff pulling out of my system. And then a bag, she gave me a Santa Claus bag worth of supplements to take home and do this detox protocol because I got to pull the heavy metals out and kill the Lyme and the parasites. So immediately after day 1, I felt like a different person. And since then, so I'm on, probably week 3 of just taking the supplements, and then I'm going to go back next week for my second, and then the following week for my third frequency treatment protocol. I already feel like we're in a heat wave right now. It's 100 degrees outside. Normally heat would wipe me out. I'm training for a marathon. I would get dehydrated. My neck would cramp up, and it would lead to one of those 3 to 5 day headaches. Nothing. My body feels completely different. My mind feels clearer. I'm sleeping better. The night after I did the first therapy, my HRV doubled. And I was like, okay, this is something. All of this to say, check out Dr. Linda Ekstrom at Complete Wellness Center in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's amazing. But this is also to say, I chalked up my terrible sleep to stress and my headaches to dehydration and stress and maybe, alcohol or whatever, or hormones or the full moon. I was always giving it excuses, but sometimes there really is something underlying that your body is screaming out to tell you to address. So I'm just so thankful that I finally heeded Brianne's pleads to go and meet this woman. I'm hoping to have her and or Brianne on the podcast to share more about what she does there, because I'm just really scratching the surface of my minute experience. But I'm so pumped knowing that in a couple weeks from now, on the other side of this treatment, I'm going to be a whole new person. I already feel so much better. And it's just a reminder, even the people that are out there air quotes, not ill, we normalize not feeling well so quickly because we're just we've just acclimated to this pace of life that is not sustainable and acclimated to the amount of toxins in our food and environment that, again, is not normal. We cannot keep normalizing this, people. So I want to now segue into flow and trusting life, which is another of my big lessons on my healing journey lately. And I'm hoping by sharing this story, it will kind of inspire others to start to ask about their relationship with life. So trust has been a big issue of mine my whole life, and I talked ad nauseum about how life is for you and never against you. And, obviously I think that source is benevolent. But when we're suffering and when shitty things are happening and when gnarly things are happening in the world, we really question, how is this for us? Anyways, so trust has been a big theme. I did a breath work a couple weeks ago with my friend Gwen Dittmar, who's been on the podcast, and she came over and she did a semi-private ceremony with me and my girlfriend, and it was so profound. Again, I think breath work is potentially the most transformational work we can do, and it is with our own instrument, with the right music, the right guidance, the right setting. We could shift so much and get downloads. I felt like I was on a plant medicine journey. That's how powerful the journey was. And so many things happened within the breathwork ceremony, but at the end, she has this move through our voice, the energy that we've shifted and shaken up in our system. And she said, put a word to it, put a sound to it, but just scream it out, what you want this next phase of your life to, the quality to, what it embodies, what it define it with a word or a sound or something. And so trust came up. So I was just I just want to trust life. So I just, with all of my voice from my root chakra, I just said, trust. And then the visions at the end were amazing and the downloads. Cut to the next day, I went to a dinner that I wasn't going to go to, but I got invited last minute. And something occurred that was the one thing in the universe that could have transpired to make me trust that everything I'm exploring and everything I know on this healing journey and just my consciousness and my spirituality, everything that life is truly for us. And there's this divine play unfolding. It happened. It was like the perfect. So basically, there was this person on the other side of the world that a very close friend of mine had been trying to get access to, close to, for 3 years. And like, we were just trying every technique to get to this person, and they're a very powerful person. And we just couldn't crack the code. 3 years of like nurturing relationships, circumventing this person. But it was, it's this close friend's journey, not mine. So I'm attached to it, but I want to help get there, but I don't, it's not my thing. Anyways, I'm sitting at this dinner, in walks this person, and she's looking at me and she's like, I know you. And I'm like, you do? And she told me where she was from, and I was like, well, I've been there before. Maybe we know some same people. Anyways, later she comes up to me. She's like, Heal. I know you because of Heal. Oh my gosh. She's like, so I love Heal. I've watched it like at least 3, 4, 5 times. And she said, I'm an advisor to this really powerful person. And I was just even on the way here texting him because he's got to make this decision. And I was thinking of Anita Morjani and her cancer. And I texted him, and she came over and she showed me his private WhatsApp. And she's like, I didn't want him to make this decision from fear. I was thinking of Heal on the way over here. And now I see you. This is divine. And anyways, wild. So as she's talking more, I go, is this person that person? Like that person that we've been trying to get to? I didn't tell her that. But I was like, the fact that she works with and just showed me a conversation with this person that my good friend had been trying to get access to for years, and life just like unfolded this beautiful connection the next day after I like had this beautiful breathwork experience and wanted to trust. I mean, that it was, I hope it's landing. She also said in a very, the next sentence, like, what are you doing next? And I said, oh, I'm thinking of my next film. And she said, maybe we can finance it for you. And I was like, okay, so I shall trust, right? I mean, is that wild, guys? I thought it was wild. So the biggest God wink I could ever imagine. And yeah, I was so grateful. And it's just a story to remind all of you that when you do the work, when you commit to the excavation, because every time I do breath work, I get anxious because I know big stuff is going to shift, and it's hard work to go through that practice of breathing. It's a lot of discomfort comes up. You're moving energy, you're moving stagnant things that have been stuck in the system, and you're agitating. But on the other side of the work, it's just like, I'm telling you, things unfold in such a beautiful way. So, do the work, people. Trust. All right. So getting through my Lyme journey, getting through the trust, and talking about this intense year I've had. I interviewed Rhonda Byrne at the beginning of this year, and it was a big win. Again, another God wink. Like, I got connected to Rhonda Byrne through my hair colorist. Like, what are the chances of that? And I was like in a really kind of sinking dark mental space, just because of stuff that was going on in my life. And then I interviewed Rhonda Byrne, and like near the end of last year, beginning of this year, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, her work with The Secret shifted me onto this journey. She was where it all started. And from watching The Secret, I started my gratitude journaling. This was in 2007. So this is many, many moons ago. And very quickly after implementing the practices and mindset that she talked about in The Secret, my life just kept getting better and better and better. So much so that everybody's like, how do you do what you do? Which eventually led me to finding my teachers and putting them in Heal. So Rhonda Byrne was like pivotal in where I am today. And that's another thing that I want to talk about, because so often on social media, I'll post something, and it's not often, But people are like, oh yeah, because of privilege, it's so easy for you to say this, or oh, look at who you're married to, or this, that, and the other thing, that it's easy for you to say because you have so much. Noted, understood, totally understand that perspective. But the thing is, people don't know where I came from. People don't know the amount of work, especially with gratitude, and the amount of work of being mindful of my thoughts and my beliefs and my self-talk, which of course went off the rails a couple years ago, which is why it's been so intense. But when you get back on the rails, things shift very quickly. And so I just really want to reiterate that you really can start with nothing and create the life of your dreams. That sounds so cheesy. I'm sorry I just said that out loud. But there's stories after stories after stories of, through different techniques and modalities, but where people have literally been at rock bottom and turned their lives around. And so for me, the tool that I've experienced the most profound transformation with is gratitude. Gratitude, and I would say it's the two people that, kind of their work represents it the most for me are Joe Dispenza and Rhonda Byrne. And it's about using our minds and our hearts to imagine, visualize, and then manifest what we want. If we're not conscious, our brains are hardwired for the negative. And we're just so hard on ourselves. I mean, I'm so hard on myself. If I'm not aware and catching my negative self-talk, it gets pretty ugly up there. So, and it's normal. It's part of being human. Again, it's just the way we're wired. And then you put on top of that the pressures of social media, the comparison, the shame, all of that stuff that is just really hurting our children and our adolescents these days. I honestly don't think I could have survived social media as a teenager if it was around in the 90s. So, gratitude. I'm reading the book The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, and it's 28 days of gratitude, and every day she gives an exercise. And so I just encourage anybody who needs a tool to pick up the book The Magic. I'm just going to promote it right there because it's what I'm doing right now. And the shifts, I've been working with gratitude ever since I talked to Rhonda, and she just reminded me and how important it is to feel into the future that we desire. So if you need a tool, pick up the book The Magic. It'll walk you through it. I'm not going to talk about it here. But what it's made me wake up to again and remember is that we get so stuck in reality. If we want to be in reality, it's a pretty shitty place to be, right? It's not a fun place to be right now. So if you are, whether you have an illness that you want to shift, so your reality sucks and you want to get to wellness, you want to heal, you want to, be able to do all the things that you did before that you've never been able to do, but you want to do when you're on the other side of this, when you healed. Rather than put focus and energy and attention on the what is, or whether your finances are in ruin right now, whether your relationship is completely decimated, whatever it is, these challenges that you're facing, if we're putting attention on this low frequency of this reality, it just brings our whole system down. But people are like, but I have to deal with reality, which I totally understand. But we have these powerful, powerful minds and brains. And this is how, just a reminder, Joe Dispenza healed his spine. It's how Rhonda Byrne created this incredible empire. We can acknowledge reality. We don't want to, go to the loony bin, but we want to start to use our minds to fantasize, to imagine, to visualize, and to feel into the future we desire. First of all, feeling and focusing on the things that we want and imagining and using that time for play. I think Jesus said it's the kingdom of heaven is available to the mentality of the child or whatever. I'm butchering the biblical phrase. phrase, but we want to be playful and use this incredible instrument of ours to co-create with the divine. And if we're stuck in the mire, the negativity of the current circumstances, we're only going to create more of the current circumstances. So we have to take the reins of our mind. We have to have daily practices that puts us in a higher frequency state. Gratitude, joy, pleasure, all of these things are going to accomplish that. So we need to do more things that bring us into joy. And we need to just take, even if it's 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. That's why this book, The Magic, is great. It's like a 28-day boot camp to start and really shift things. But then have a regular practice where, and I like to gratitude journal, but even just in the morning, be grateful for your health. I mean, every day, just be grateful for your health. And even if your reality is screaming, but I'm not healthy, I have this, or I'm diagnosed with this, or I'm in pain. Totally understand. It's so difficult to do this. But if you get in the practice every day of just really, I am healthy, and just over and over until you believe it. And if you need to, like, if there's a part of your body that's stronger, that's functioning that's really, like, if you have great vision, or if you can kick a soccer ball, like whatever the aspect of your life that is healthy, focus on that until that anchors it in truth. And then just like, my whole body is healthy, and let that seed of truth seep out into the thing. And it will shift. And there's divine timing, but if you do the work, on the other side of the work are the miracles, like I mentioned in my trust anecdote, which still blows me away. So gratitude, another of my practices, which I've shared about before, so I'm sorry if this is redundant, but I write in my journal, and this is, again, it's play. So it might seem silly at first, but it's rooted in truth, and then you expand on imagination. So every day I write in my journal. Writing is a very powerful tool for me, and energetically it just, like, puts that frequency into words. And I say, I am so happy and grateful now that, or I'm so happy and grateful that I'm healthy. That's true. Even though I have Lyme and I'm dealing with that, I feel healthy. I'm so, I'm able-bodied. I'm so grateful, like, every day. That is health. Without health, we have nothing. So I'm so happy and grateful that I'm healthy. I'm so happy and grateful that my daughter is healthy. I'm so happy and grateful that my husband is healthy. Everybody that I care about, I go through that list. And then so whatever you want to focus on that day, you start to, like, find things in your reality that you're grateful for, and then find things that you desire. Think of the things that you desire and give thanks for them as if they are reality. So anchor it in reality. Find those things you're grateful for. We all can find a few things that we're grateful for, even at our worst, even at rock bottom. And then start to fantasize. Then start to feel like, I'm so grateful that I just got that promotion. Oh my gosh, that I'm getting all this recognition for my hard work after all this year. I'm so grateful. Or I'm so grateful that we found our dream house and it was actually at a price we could afford. I'm so grateful that I just found out I'm pregnant. I'm so grateful that I met a partner that sees me, understands me, and just is, aligned in energy, etc., whatever it is. I'm so grateful that my, so-and-so just got the news that there's no evidence of disease. Whatever it is, mix that in there. The point is, as you're writing these things, maybe at first it seems silly, but you do this practice every day and you realize you're doing this for the purpose of feeling into the future you desire. And as you feel that gratitude, as you feel the joy, which is ultimately the feeling that you're going for, you're not actually going for the dream house, you're going for the feeling of, like, having this beautiful space to exist in and feel protected and held, and a place to gather your loved ones and create memories. Like, we're after the feelings. So if we can have these daily practices of feeling into that future we desire, we're sending out frequency and information into the field, and then life starts to organize in a new way. So that's my practice. It's like fantasizing and feeling into the future you desire, because otherwise, if you just let your brain on default mode, you're in stress, you're in negativity, you're in fear. I mean, you just are. So we really have to consciously take the reins of our mind through these practices and anchor it in truth, and then go on the back of it and just fantasize. And this could be accomplished in 5 minutes per day. Anyways, that's a practice. I shared this before, but just real quickly, when I first met my husband, I was starting to do this journaling work. And we started dating, and then he broke up with me to get back together with an ex-girlfriend. Obviously, I was devastated, but I was like, okay, because of this journaling work and because of the work that I had learned from The Secret and subsequent people and teachers and, some of the people that I put in Heal, I knew life is giving us contrast so that we get clear on what we really want. So I was looking at my now husband, and I was looking at the qualities that I loved about him, that I had fallen in love with him for. And then I looked at the qualities that, like, obviously he's not adoring me because he went back to his ex-girlfriend. I don't trust him because I felt a little blindsided. So, like, I looked at the contrast, like these things I didn't want that made me hurt. And I go, what's the opposite of that? Well, I want to be adored. Okay, so this relationship has, through what I don't want, is teaching me what I do want. So you do the opposite of these things that are causing you pain, and you write them on your list. So I started drafting my perfect guy list. And so I took all the wonderful qualities that he had, and then I took all the qualities that were causing me pain, and I flipped them. And I said, I want, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm with someone that adores me. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm with someone that I trust implicitly, et cetera, et cetera. And I created this list of this guy. And one of two things could happen, and the most likely is I'd attract someone else that would fall into this list, would be the embodiment of this list. And that's what I truly believed was going to happen. Well, what actually happened was my husband, ultimately, maybe a year or two later, he actually kind of grew up and into that, and he embodied that list, which is wild. So he grew into that frequency because obviously we were meant to be together. And I love that story because we can look in life, again, we can be a victim for a moment. Of course, we're human. Feel the grief, feel the anger, feel the rage, feel the hurt. But then let's take these experiences, learn what they're teaching us about us and our wounds, and where we need to start to create what we do want. We've been shown what we don't want. Let's flip that and start to create the list, create the script, visualize and feel into the future that we desire. So ultimately, what does that bring us back to? If we can operate like that, and again, I'm preaching here, but I'm not always perfect. I lost my shit the other day. I got triggered. Like, I'm not perfect, but it's a practice, right? So if we can view life as for us, and these experiences that are coming, that we're attracting based on subconscious frequency, behaviors, beliefs, energy, and they're painful, they're challenging, have the moment, feel sorry for yourself, feel the pain, feel the grief, this is real, and then go, okay, what can I learn from this? And where is the blessing in this? Because ultimately, again, everyone that I've talked to that has gone through cancer and get on the other side of it and heal, say it's the greatest gift that ever happened to them. So these challenges, these dark nights of the soul, these things that we're going through collectively and individually, there's a reason, there's a purpose. And on the other side, there is tremendous blessing and joy. So if we can learn how to, if we know that truth. And I just finished reading the book, The Surrender Experiment. Oh my gosh. So I highly recommend it to everybody. Michael Singer, I mean, talk about trusting life. This guy trusted life and created a $3 billion business wearing no shoes and being a hippie in the forest of middle Florida. So I highly recommend that book as well. But again, if we can get to that place, we can even be grateful for the challenges that are being thrown at us so that we can learn through the experience of what we don't want, how to get crystal clear on what we do want, and then focus and fantasize and create that. I hope that makes sense. That's my practice, and it's a really powerful one. So gratitude. If I can only, and I'm not perfect. Like I said, I lose my shit. I go off the rails. I forget for, sometimes it's a few minutes, sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's a few years, but really, really knowing and trusting that life is for us and trying to nudge us and whisper to us and help us to get really clear on what we want. All the while remembering as well that we deserve it. We all deserve it. We are all divine, beautiful beings and souls having this human experience together. So, what else? Am I sharing anything else today? Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. I really want to thank you guys again. Gratitude, right? I'm grateful. The more we're grateful, just the better we feel. So truly, I wouldn't be here without you listening and without all the wonderful feedback and love that I get from sharing. So really, thank you. And I'd love for you to try these practices out and let us know how they work for you. Let us know some shifts, and who knows, maybe you will be a guest on the podcast one day because of these practices that you implement. I'm telling you, gratitude can shift everything. So, all right, that's it. I love y'all. Have a fantastic rest of the year and keep them coming. And if please, again, as a podcast host, I gotta tell you, I gotta ask, I gotta beg. If you like what you hear here, can you rate us? Can you review us? Can you follow us, subscribe us, share us, all of those things, because it helps us continue to do what we're here to do. And thank you. I appreciate it. Lots of love. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Heal with Kelly podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. Oh, and if you found this episode inspiring, please rate, review, and share Heal with Kelly so that we can grow our audience and reach more people. We truly appreciate it. Lots of love.